Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Okay, when I tell you we are about to have an amazing time. Now,
Absolutely.
in DCOW, we have had Michelle on before. And thank you to all of the beautiful people who are watching. We have some people backstage on StreamYard. And when I say they are ready, they are ready. But first, I want to introduce Michelle Lenore. She has over 16,000 followers on LinkedIn. And it takes a lot to get, a lot of credibility on LinkedIn. She's an executive business coach. In addition to that, she's also in professional development. So for everybody who is at the mid-level to senior level position, this live is for you. We are going to be talking about six-figure interview tips. So everybody, let's give Michelle a round of applause, a round of applause for all of my people watching on Facebook and LinkedIn. What I want you to do is I'm going to be looking at the comments, but I want you to tell me where you are from. I see some clapping emojis. If you're from Atlanta, say Atlanta. If you're from Baltimore, say
Yeah.
Baltimore. But I am very excited. Michelle, tell us, how are you?
I'm super excited. I mean, today is a great day, as always. Well, any day is a great day to talk about interviewing, LinkedIn, resumes, making that money, going to the next level, getting promoted, annual reviews.
Mhm.
What?
No, this is fun. So we're really going to dive into interview tips. What I'm seeing is that a lot of people are getting the interview, which means your resume is making it past the ATS system. The ATS system, as we know, stands for applicant tracking system. And then from there, you all are going through multiple rounds. But now I'm hearing feedback. Kamara, I went through 4 to 5 interviews, and either they're picking another candidate or I'm being ghosted and not hearing back.
Mhm.
Michelle, tell us, what are some common mistakes people are making in these interviews?
So, if you believe that you had a really great interview, if you believe you didn't have a great interview, at the end of the interview, ask them the question: am I your target candidate? Am I the one that you're looking for? Can you give me some real time feedback? And so they'll give you that time, like, okay, we're winding down. Do you have one more question? Let that be your question, because if for some reason, if you are not the right candidate and they don't call you, then you're not looking for the call. I've had interviews where they say, you have great EQ, you get along with people, we hear it, we see it, we see the recommendations. You don't have the technical skill.
Right.
That's okay. So now I know that that's really huge for them. Sometimes they'll teach you, they'll go ahead and teach you, but when they really need that specialized tech skill and they tell you, then don't expect the call back.
Right. Right.
That's one of the tips that I would say is ask.
Okay. Now I want to talk about six-figure interview magic. And when I say that, I just mean you can put your own spin on things, right? I don't mean going crazy with that word. But I want to ask you, a lot of these people that we have backstage, they're going, if they're not already, to that six-figure realm. So probably 110 to 150. And in interviews, because you've helped somebody, what's the highest salary? I think it was over 700,000.
Uh-huh.
Tell us about that story. How did you get that person a job for like over 700,000?
So first of all, this was an executive VP. Well, he was a senior, and then he went into the executive space. They
Mhm.
pretty much know what they will and will not accept. And so again, everybody, well, not everybody. Some people can still be nervous. And so we went through his stats. Is very, very important to know what your stats are, to know your numbers. If you don't know your numbers, people aren't listening. They hear like, oh, I'm a wonderful person, I'm a great team player, I'm this, I'm that. We really focused on the numbers. And when you have a title that's high, they want to hear multiple millions or
Mhm.
perhaps billions. They want to hear percentages of, I help cut down X, Y, and Z. I help revenue X, Y, and Z. Numbers are really, really important. So, whatever position that you're in, you need to go ahead and you need to find the numbers of what you are doing. If you're not sure and you're having a meeting with your manager, ask your manager, what is my efficiency rate? The numbers can be in anything, but you do need some numbers.
Right. And I want to add this for my people who are going to watch the replay. But this is my 6-figure questionnaire, and it varies based on the job. But we have a program coming out called Career Advancement Bootcamp, and it's going to be 6 weeks. And basically, we're going to meet for 1 hour for 6 weeks, and I'm going to break down just some masterful tips. I'm going to have some other people come with me. But track record of achievement, building relationships, handling rejection. What do you do if a deal doesn't go through? Or what if do you do if you don't meet deadline? Like, how do you handle that? How do you tell your boss? Strategic selling. This is more on the sales side, but product knowledge. Now we are in an age where everything is online. So either you're on TV, but most of the time it's mobile. So you have to tell me, how are you contributing to the ROI? How are you contributing to the revenue of the company? And then team collaboration. Do you get along with people? That's a
Come on.
real question. If you don't get along with a lot of people, I'm going to be honest with you. And I'll bring our first person up, and it's going to be Brittany. But most of the time, when you're doing these interviews, and one of the successful interview tips that I received is you want to make sure that the team likes you and that you like the team, because there's no reason for you to go on that job or go on online and you are on eggshells 24/7.
That's right.
So you want to make sure that the company culture fits with you, and then you also want to make sure that it's just a good atmosphere. Another tip that I also want to add: do your research on the company. A lot of times, what I'm seeing is people are just applying for jobs, but there's no strategy behind it. So what happens is they end up getting a job. It could be good pay, and then they quit within 3 to 4 months. They say, "Come on, I hated what I was doing." Well, now you're in a hole because you just hated the last job that you were at.
Right.
So you need to get specific about what you want. All right, Brittany, we're going to add you on. Give me a wave. Let me know you're good. Okay, good. Awesome. Brittany, you can unmute yourself. Hi,
Hey,
how are you?
I'm doing okay. How are y'all?
I'm doing good. And tell us where you from. Where you at right now?
I'm Brittany. I'm from Arkansas.
Okay. Now walk us through what has been going on in the job process. You're at the mid-level role. You're going between that 75K to over 100. What's going on?
I am currently got accepted into a creative program, so that's new. I don't know if you knew that.
Okay, congratulations.
Thank you. Kind of right now having a hard time finding something that will work with that schedule since it's in person instead of online. But I'm grateful for the program because I'll be learning more about video and graphic production, something that I've touched a little bit on, but haven't dived all the way into. And I feel like that's going to help me be a better communicator in general. So that's kind of what I'm hoping to find something that can work with those hours, or
Mhm.
that's something that's remote and can understand that that program is only going to help that company grow.
Now let me ask you this because I saw you in the Facebook group. Are you currently looking for a job? Are you unemployed?
Yes.
Okay, Michelle, what are some tips you can give her? She's technically, I hear a lot of people use this word if they've been unemployed for a while, career break. But a career break to me is when you have took almost like a sabbatical from a job and you're not doing anything or you're just going back to school. So what tips can you give her to get a job?
So, Brittany, now how long have you been out of a job? And forgive me
Four
if
months, about 4 months.
you said 4 months. Okay. And then what happened to your previous job?
I left. I just felt like that it wasn't helping me grow. So then right after that, I got accepted into the creative program, which is good. But I know that hampers when I can be able to work.
Okay. Okay. So one of the things, which is great, because you're continuing learning, so you want to make sure that when you're having those conversations with the interviewer, you let them know, like, I needed, more advancement, to go to the next level. So I decided to go ahead and start this program, and that is not unheard of by any means. because you wanted to focus. So if you say, I really wanted to focus on this program, and I know that entailed me not working, it's not per se a career break. It is you're learning, you're advancing. So I want you to be real careful about if you are saying this, that, oh, I decided to take a career break. That's not a career break. Like if you weren't doing anything, that's a career break. You're not taking a career break. You're taking your career to the next level. So it sounds like sometimes it's the wording of it. We always want to know as recruiters or as businesses as hiring people that you're always advancing. So when you're saying I'm advancing, I'm improving, I'm learning, they always want to hear those words.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And let me ask you, when is the last time you've been on an interview?
I went on one end of July. End of July.
End of July. What was the outcome?
I thought the interview went well.
Mhm.
I just didn't get it. They sent me an email 2 days later saying they picked another candidate. So that's
Okay. So you got the interview from your resume, but then when you were going through the interview, they said, hey, we want to go with another choice. What can candidates do? I'm hearing a lot of people getting in the interview. They're sitting in a chair, sitting on Zoom, 50 Zoom calls a month. They're not hearing anything. Michelle, what advice would you give them?
Um, I know this can be tough, that you have this like desperation about you. And when I say not you, I'm talking about, you've been through 15 interviews and you're like, I need a job. Sometimes that really comes through. Like, I need this job, I'm desperate for it. And that's, for a lot of recruiters, that's a put off, because then they're thinking like you're not a good candidate. You're just agreeing with everything that they're saying, when in fact you could be a great candidate. I love to take walks. I love to ride my bike. Anytime I had an interview, I would exercise to help get rid of that, like that nervous energy, because right here's what you have. You want to put your best foot forward, and sometimes it just seems like a little, too much. You're too excited, you're too agreeable. And then also when you do that, you'll realize that, or others who are interviewing, they'll realize, like, you know what, this is not even a good fit. I remember having an interview, and in the middle of the interview I realized this was just a terrible, just connection with this particular job. And I was like, so I said, I usually don't do this, but I'm going to stop the interview because it seems like that we're not connecting. And, so I didn't want to waste your time. And then I ended the interview. I knew a couple people who worked at the company. They were like, "Ooh, that was good. You dodged the bullet." That was a terrible boss. And sometimes when you feel it, like something's not right, don't ignore it. It's okay. But again, I get it. We have bills to pay. Sometimes you're like, if I could just work for 3 months and pay down these bills, and in the meantime I could look for another job, then I want to do that. But sometimes that's a little bit more stressful and harmful, because then your resume and your LinkedIn is beginning to look spotty. But most definitely, take care of yourself. Go to bed early, the night before. I would always lay out my resume the night before. I had everything laid out, my clothes, my resume, making sure that the lights, especially if it's going to be virtual, making sure I have all the lights in place, making sure everything is in place, and then having a second location just in case, because we're in technology, the
Right.
Wi-Fi goes out and we're like, so being prepared.
Excellent, excellent. And I also want to give a shout out because I was looking on the back end. I'm like, okay, I see the Facebook viewers, but LinkedIn, y'all are showing up. Michelle, I sent you a screenshot. We have a few more people on LinkedIn. That's what's being shown to us on the back end. So I want to say welcome, and please, if you are from LinkedIn, put your what is this called, city, on where you're watching from. So let's know the city and state. Brittany, thank you so much. We're
you know,
gonna take you back to the audience. You look great. We'll talk soon.
Yes, you do.
Okay, now next up, drum roll, is Danny. So Danny is a social media strategist. She is an excellent visionary when it comes to social media trends. And we're going to bring her up just to talk about six-figure interview tips. So, Danny, introduce yourself for us just a little bit.
Hi, everyone. My name is Danielle or Danny Wright. I am currently in athletic communications, independent contractor, and I do media management, broadcast management, social media management, and strategic communications. And so that's a little bit about me.
I want you to give us an update because you are like a lot of candidates that come to me. You're almost in that in between stage. So you
Yes.
told me some good news behind, before we started.
Mhm.
But how long have you like been without a job? How long has that period been for you?
So what's interesting is I stopped working for full-time company, like as an employee, and went straight to contract work. And so I'm not without a job. I'm just looking for more clients
Hmm. Good.
because I want to get to, and I know I can get to that six-figure level with a couple more clients.
Now I want to ask you this, Michelle, without giving too much of your sauce. Because she is, I mean, when I say she's a high level coach, she's a high level coach. But as business owners, because Michelle, she has multiple companies and she hires. She's hired on the corporate
Mhm.
side, she hired for her business. If you are interviewing me, if you wanted to hire Danny as your social media strategist, give us some areas where people have like just fumbled the ball with you, whether it's their social media presence, where you're like, this does not look right. I'm not hiring. Tell us, because those are tips, especially if it's a job at your company and it's like 130 something thousand. How could somebody fumble the ball?
Yeah, so this is a really good question. And Danny, just before Kamara pops you off, I want to say something that will help other small business owners of what you just said. But if you say you're a social media person, if I go onto your website or if I go on your Instagram, wherever your biggest presence is at, then you have to wow me. If you don't wow me, I'm not going for it. So that's one issue that I've come across. The other issue is that I am more on the conservative side of things. None of my posts have any type of profanity in it, any type of sexual, indications, because to me it's all professional. I'm talking about taking your business to the next level so you can get those $1 million contracts. We don't have time to play around with different things. So I've had quite a few people reach out to me like, oh, hey, I could be your social media manager. And I take a look and I'm like, well, show me something that you've done, so, off. And this is not everybody. So sometimes offshore, the English is broken. So if their English is broken, you
Mhm.
show me some examples. I'm not interested. Other ones, they were like, loosen up a little bit. You can loosen up. Well, when it comes to business, that's not what I do. So don't make me something that you are. So again, just really hearing the client, and I was the client again. Kamara, she helped me. We had a conversation. I'm all about the conversation. And so I tell everybody, okay, I'm conservative when it comes to my social media. I do play around with it here or there, but just ask me. I don't use profanity. I had told one social media manager this twice. And so I had to release them and let them go because that taints my brand immediately.
Mhm.
I can't have my brand changed like that or tainted. So that's one of the things. Is just I would say it's communication. It's like going to a hairdresser. If the hairdresser's like, "Girl, I can do your hair. It's gonna look the bomb," and you look at her hair and you be like, "No, ma'am," right? So that's like the pretty much like the same concept.
This is good. And I'll say this, we have somebody from DC. I saw you on LinkedIn. Because I'm looking like I see the Facebook ones and I see the LinkedIn followers, but that's okay. Make sure that you connect with Michelle and I. And I want to ask you this, Michelle, for Danny, because we have somebody who said that social media presence tip is good. I actually heard Tyler Perry one time, he was doing an interview, and he said He looked at somebody's Instagram profile and he didn't hire them because he didn't like what he saw. I was like, whoa. So I need to make sure everything on there is clean. For
Yeah.
people who are transitioning, they're going, they've worked a job, they worked a 9 to 5 for so long. What tips do they need to put on their, LinkedIn that'll say, hey, I'm no longer interested in working a full-time job, but I'm interested in getting some clients. Just give us 2 tips, not all your sauce.
Okay. So it's all about the transferable skills. Make sure that you're showing them that whatever you learned in corporate America or your 9 to 5, you have that same vigor, that same energy for that client. And the other thing is, because it's almost like Kamara read my mind, a lot of people don't know that on LinkedIn, you can actually get hot clients off of LinkedIn. And but your LinkedIn profile has to be built up, and pretty much there is an opportunity where it says, do you want to promote your services? And you'll say yes. They'll ask you in what industry. They will review what you have put and posted. They'll review your title, they'll review your summary, and if they think that you are not a good candidate for social media because you're always talking about shining shoes, which is nothing wrong with shining shoes, they're like, it's not a good match. So you will get rejected for that. But I have, in the beginning, I have had, using that particular tool, I've gotten a lot of clients. And again, they're hot clients who are looking for projects, and you would be one of those. So most definitely check that out.
Okay.
Excellent. And for our career advancement boot camp, I'll give you all a sneak peek. Michelle is going to be one of our speakers. Okay. So that boot camp right now, we're doing interviews because I want to make sure this is, you'll be with us for 6 weeks. So I want to make sure this is a good fit. So make sure when you'll see it in the comments within this live. But Cav, I am taking you to your next job. Oh, okay. Thank you, Danny. Thank you
Thank
so much.
you.
And I see Courtney. She has popped on. She's joining from NYC. And hello. All right. We have Keith.
Hello,
Keith,
hello.
how you doing?
I'm good. I'm just out here doing a little work while we doing this interview.
Can we just say thank you, Keith, for being here? It takes a lot of basically drive to say, you know what, I'm on my job, but come on, I'm trying to get me another one. So we want to just say applause. We want to say thank you because we appreciate you for showing up. Now, Keith, tell us what is going on in the job process.
Right, right now I'm just looking for a digital content producer position. I've been close on about 3 or 4 interviews, and I went through that. I went through the interview, and I took the test. And then after that, been down to the last 3 or the last 4, but just didn't quite make it past the door.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So, well, it's a bit frustrating, but I don't give up.
Right. And I'm
On
going
the
to give
land,
you some background. Keith had been working at his job for about like 20
30
years.
years. It's been 30 years since July.
30 years since July, but he has excellent writing skills. So that's why he continues to get the interviews and he's going through 2 and 3 rounds. But then before, they, or like during, before they about to make a decision, they say, hey, we decide to go with another candidate.
Exactly.
Michelle, he's been at this now for over a year, getting the interviews. He's got his resume redone. What's going on?
Because Keith has so much experience, and I hate to say this, so there's a couple of things that could be happening here. It could be age. Okay. Yes, we're supposed to not talk about age, but yet and still, we're in America, and this is the reality of it. And also experience. Um, they may want to hire someone at least $10 to $15 less, and if that's their budget, and Keith could be saying like, "Hey, I'll come in at that," but in their heads they'll say, "But he'll leave in about a year, and then we have to start the process all over again." So there's a lot of things that's happening concerning that. And then it could be it could be their budget. My one client who again he's 27. He did everything right. He got his resume done, he got his LinkedIn done. They were getting ready to send him the letter, and they were like, "Okay, we're sending you the offer letter." And he's like, "Hey, I'm just checking. Where's the offer letter?" He already put in my 2 week notice. See, and then what happened was they were like, "Oh, we don't have enough of the budget." So I know that a lot of times when that happens too many times, and recruiters become very leery about information too early, because if you are responsible, you usually do want to give a 2 week notice. But I've noticed that a lot of companies have not been doing that. So you may be busting a budget, Keith, and that's the reality until you get that one person who's willing to go ahead and take that chance.
Mm.
No, that's a fair assessment because I know Keith, he's done multiple writing. They said, hey, your writing is good. You know, we decided to do X, Y, and Z. Let me ask you this. How then during the interview can he make himself more marketable and say, wow, you can get loyalty out of me? You know, we in this Gen Z generation, they'll just get up and go. So how can he market himself like that?
That's very good. Exactly how you said it. You're looking for a solid company that has been around, just like you've been around. You're like, I've been with my company for 30 years. It's important that I'm with another solid company just like that, and you are that company. Also, again, because I'm not in the room, and you've been with a job for 30 years, you got to bring that young people's energy. A lot of times, I keep hearing, after a woman, it doesn't matter what race, culture she is, after she's 35, she's down the hill in corporate America. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm fine wine. What are we talking about? And so the same
Exactly.
thing can happen, with the men. The men, it's a little bit more. And if they have not seen that you can raise the bar within their company, that you can help take their department to the next level, then they're really, really not interested, because again, they're looking at your age. Um, and if you're finding it like really, really too hard, I would most definitely reach out to AARP and see how they can help you, because they actually have jobs within, or they have jobs that they collaborate with large corporations, because they have to meet a certain goal. Just like they have to have a diversity goal, then they have to have a goal for people of certain ages. So that's another way that you can take a look at and see what's going on that may help you out.
You are dropping gems. Can
Oh,
everybody
this is new to
in the
me. Okay.
comments say hashtag Michelle on LinkedIn and on Facebook? And even my people who are backstage, I want you all to put hashtag Michelle because those are excellent tips. And again, Keith, you are in this community, you've been in here for years. So make sure that you stay connected. You're going to get a job, and we are just speaking into existence. It's going to be this year. Okay.
And Keith, make sure you ask the question. Is nothing wrong with asking the question, am I your ideal candidate? And is there something that I didn't answer for you? And then again, because that means that you are aware of that particular position, you want to be the solution for the problem that they have. So just ask the questions.
Here, here, here's the funny thing. A couple of those places I wasn't hired, I did ask those questions. It's just the people that some people did not answer. Some said some things I wasn't really familiar with. But I guess it depends on the company, it depends on the station, I guess.
Yeah.
So
And then I'll tell you this, because there are some companies who they don't want to because of legal reasons. So they can't give feedback. So that's why they always give a generic one. I was taught that like years ago. But
That's why. Okay.
so, but I will tell you, Denise in our community, she said veteran services at AARP have different sectors within tons of corporations. So yes, make sure that you apply for those jobs. We have one more person to bring on, Maggie. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Again, my LinkedIn community. I need you to put hashtag, excuse me, hashtag Michelle. Because she just dropped some gems. She told him where to apply, how to get the interview. Uh, uh, this is just a preview what you're going to get in the boot camp. Okay, last but not least, we got one more person. Can she touch on? Yes, I'll put this question up. Maggie. Maggie. Hi,
Hi.
how are you?
She got my degree on, y'all.
I love those earrings, girl.
Thank you.
Okay, you are based in Baltimore and
Yes.
you are in a transition stage. So I've been seeing, of course, your work on LinkedIn. Tell me what's been going on. How long have you been out of a job? What's your story?
Okay, so Michelle, I'm a freelance journalist. So my ideal job would be obviously to like work in a newsroom in some capacity. Um so I've been trying to get into a newsroom for like the last year or so. I do have like, I don't want to say an extensive, but I have quite a good portfolio far as like my writings. I do things outside of writing like email marketing and stuff, and I do some digital content producing. Um so my thing is I can get like the interviews and stuff, like the virtual interviews and things like that. I know that also too, I know I'm skipping around, but I know that I'm in an oversaturated market. So I guess like how do I stand out from like other journalists? Like aside from like original pieces and things like that, how do I stand out, aside from other journalists?
Wow, that's a good one. That might be more of a Kamara one, but I will have to say, just knowing your brand, and if you have a niche within that, so say if you can do 10 things, but what is the one thing that you know that they always need and you really enjoy doing? Because you don't want to niche yourself into a place that you absolutely hate. So, there's so much that's going on there, technology, it's just so much. But again, it's like, what is it? What makes you stand out within that big, glob of people, and just keep working that and making sure, of course, that it pays the bills, that also that you're allowed to get promoted within that level. Because sometimes we can niche ourselves right on out of a job. We do so well, we've hit the top. This is the highest that we can go. And then the other thing is that you may be such an expert that you're like, okay, well, this is it. I'll be freelancing and be a consultant. And because you are such an expert at what you do, that you go ahead and you brand yourself as that to other connections that you've already made. If people already know what you can do, then chances are, professionally, then they know other people who need what you do. And so you need to have that in place, an opportunity for them to reach out to you to do, this particular job as a consultant or as a freelancer.
Now, do you want, because this is a question that I get and I have to break it down with candidates. You have to be very focused. The ATS system is focused. If you don't have a large percentage of those keywords, they kick you out and they say rejection. Do you want a 9 to 5 or do you want to work for yourself and just do consulting work?
I guess that's a good question. Honestly, right now I'm at a point where I do want to work in a newsroom. While working for myself is like good, get that freedom. I kind of want to experience the newsroom too. Like I want that side of it.
So you're looking for a happy medium.
Mhm.
In terms of salary, she's been doing this for about 3 to 4 years, Michelle.
Mhm.
What range should she fall underneath? Because sometimes I can work with people and they are too low. I told you 2 stories. One girl went from 30,000 to 79,000. Another girl went from 63 to 95. And another girl went from about 105 to about 155,000. So what's the salary range she should be going for?
So she most definitely need to, again, some things like, okay, so when I think about technology, so one of my clients, he's 27, and he was able to get a $45,000 raise. He's in the technology space. We talked about, well, where do you want to be? What do you want to do? And pretty much he's right below a manager, a people manager. So he's more of a principal. So you have to know, do I want to be in the management space, or do I just want to be an expert? And then also, with that $45,000 raise, he also got a $10,000 bonus. Again, he did research. There was research, because I'm not in that technology space, you really have to see what people are getting paid. So if you just want to be, we'll say, a scrum master. So if it's a scrum master and you're just an analyst, the highest that might take you is $75,000. And you want to look at, okay, so from here, can I get a position that's going to take me up to 150? So you're always like 3 or 4 steps ahead. So what can you do without looking at your information? I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know exactly, what would the cost be, because, with everything streaming, it may not be a big deal like it was 15 years ago. People were making 65, $85,000. They're like, oh, we can stream it and we can regurgitate it, do shorts, do all of that.
Right.
And AI can do that.
That's it's
And
true.
so now you're back down to 30,000.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I love Kamara said, you coming in the middle, maybe you working in the newsroom, that you work in the newsroom as a freelancer or a contract, so you could see it, so you could feel it, and still do your contract work. So that's something to think about also.
Do you have any questions? That's some good info.
No, thank you guys so much.
Good, good. I'm gonna put you back in the studio. Maggie is up for hire. Keith is up for hire. Brittany is up for hire, and Danny is looking for some more clients. But most of her clients are corporate, and she's a very good strategist. So just putting that out there. I want to go through some questions. We're gonna have 10 more minutes, and we're gonna honor Michelle's time. So this is it Shannon or Denise? Okay, Denise. Oh, Denise is actually a TV stylist. So when I went to Cheddar News, y'all saw that in New York. Okay. She invited me and I was her social media producer for the day. It was really fun and she got some good views. She asked, can she also touch on wardrobe and grooming for interviews? Sometimes refreshing wardrobe and grooming gives you upper hand. I want to also talk about this. Michelle and I, we talk about this. It's not like how it was back in the day where you're going in person for an interview. Do you see the way that Michelle is dressed? That's the way you need to be dressed on your interview. Good lighting, confident, say your affirmations in the morning. You like this is a real thing. What do you think?
Absolutely. No, yeah. When like I say, go exercise. When you exercise, the blood pumps. You have this energy that's, that people can really see. Also, would you say it was Denise who asked this question?
Denise.
It was a very good question. So I hope everybody is listening, especially my women. Okay, so I'm gonna say it again, my women. If you color your hair, keep it colored. Half your hair shouldn't be gray, and then then I'm messing up my hair. Half your hair shouldn't be gray, and then the other half shouldn't be whatever color it's supposed to be. Keep fresh, keep new. I want you to consider interviewing as if you're going out on a date. When we go out on the date, we go ahead and we put on the lipstick, the whatever we're gonna do. We're gonna look good, we're gonna smell good. When we do that, we feel good. Okay. It's not like, oh yeah, they're gonna take me just the way I am, because corporate America is saying, like, we take all of you, but they don't tell you the part. We take all of you as long as you fit within our culture. And so if you're not the best version of yourself, sometimes you don't give that. And again, I love Denise say, update your wardrobe. Guys, 1950 is gone, 1960, 1970. I know they're trying to replace some things. They have like designer fanny packs now. Okay. I ain't wearing one. I'm just letting y'all know I'm not wearing a fanny pack. So Understand what works with your skin color, understand what works with your body shape, understand the colors. Every color doesn't work with every person. So if it's video or if it's going in person, white is always a great color to have. And if you want to add a little spice to it, go ahead, add a scarf or something. And for my men, get a haircut. I'm sorry. I've seen some folks and I'm like, we can't do this. It's not okay. And use the iron. Go ahead and iron your clothes. This all makes the difference, simplest things. And some of you guys may be thinking like, Michelle, I do this. No, a lot of people don't. It's like we're going on an interview, we're going to a tech company. They wear khakis and a polo. Just put some heat to it. Just as again, if you're going, just think, I'm going on a date. I want her or him to look at me and look at and see the best version of me.
Yes, yes. I want, so it sounds like people need to do a upgrade,
Yeah.
hashtag upgrade. So I need everybody, and this is talking about career. My LinkedIn people, I see you. Okay. And for those who are going to watch this replay, I want you to put hashtag upgrade on Facebook and on LinkedIn.
Hmm.
Because even when you are on a Zoom, people can feel your personality through the camera. That's why influencers became so popular. It's like, oh, I connect with them, I resonate with them. So show those parts of your personality that team would like. Another question that I want to ask, this is from Shannon. She says, what's the best way to qualify for a government or county position if you don't have experience in that particular field? For example, airport, post office.
Transferable skills. Everything is transferable. The biggest thing is customer service. Do you have good customer service? And you need to show that in your resume, and you need to show that in your LinkedIn profile. The same with the airport. How many times have we been to the airport and we were like, ooh, they were hateful today, right? They get they get complaints. They get complaints from the airport. They get complaints from the post office. They get complaints from the DMV. So with that one, if you have the right personality, people, different companies and the government are willing to teach you the technical side of things. And again, I think Kamara Reese touched on this, is having that confidence. Like, I may not know this, but I'm going to learn it. But there is no excuse in this day and time that we don't know anything about a particular job, because we got YouTube University.
We do. Again, one more time for my LinkedIn people and for everybody watching, I want you to put hashtag upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because we are about to step into a new quarter. The year is, I mean, it's about to be 2024. And if you haven't gotten that job that you said, listen, you are tired of living check to check. You are also tired of working so much and you're like, this is not even matching up to my job description. Then what you need to do is do two things. You need to get your resume and your LinkedIn together, because those are your two vehicles in this day and age that will get you a job. So
Absolutely.
that's why you're going to hashtag upgrade everything. Okay. Before we leave, Michelle, I know you will be one of the guest speakers for the CAD program that we're going to have. I'll release that date maybe in September. But what is one piece of advice that you want to give to people?
Um, it's okay if somebody says no to you. It's just no. It's not personal. They didn't look at you and decide, I'm going to say no to Carl. Who's Carl? I just made up a name. It's not personal. If it's not a match, it's not a match. And always ask questions. Again, Kamara mentioned that sometimes, they have something in the paperwork to say, we can't answer that. But ask them, well, can you tell me something? Can you tell me something that just will help my next interview? And usually they will. They will, because that's something helpful. that wouldn't get them in trouble. That's not saying that they, you wouldn't get the job. What can you say that would help me that I pointed out to you or I told you that pretty much would help me on my next interview?
Yep, yep. And I like that. And I will connect with them on LinkedIn. If they don't want to tell you via email, just say, hey, I really enjoyed this interview with you. Can you just tell me a few tips? Because I am looking for a job. And there are some people that'll give you feedback. Michelle, we want to say thank you. I saw a few people on LinkedIn and Facebook put hashtag Michelle. So yes, she is the GOAT. And to answer your question, Kim, we're here to interview. If it's, of course, if it's in person, yes, but don't wear stilettos. Wear a nice heel. Now we have to define everything, right? But
Right.
just a nice professional heel. Don't, no, just like that. All right. I hope this was good. The comments are good. Thank you, LinkedIn. Thank you, Facebook. And most of all, y'all, can we give some clapping emojis for Michelle?
Now
You
can I tell
are
them the scripture?
Courtney said hashtag Michelle upgrade. Another thing that I wanted to know, because Michelle is phenomenal. She is gifting us, okay, with a resume and LinkedIn audit. And let me get that link really quick. With that audit, what she is saying is, Kamara, I know that people need assistance, and I definitely want to do something for your community. When is the deadline for this?
So they can register ASAP. This is a one-on-one. This is a very low price because Kamara is my sweetie pie. I only have usually 4 sweetie pies. She falls underneath another sweetie pie.
Okay.
And I know how important it is for her nation that she has to get jobs. And sometimes you just need a little bit of tweaking, you need a little bit of a conversation one on one. And I'm here to help out with that. So they can register, sign up ASAP, but it ends the last day of this month. So it's a very short time to have a conversation with me at the pricing that's available there.
Okay, cool. And people, I know you're gonna ask like what is included. What can they expect?
They expect that so first of all, I would have to see your resume because we would take a look at it. We're not going to have a conversation about your resume. It's 30 minutes. It's quick, it's down, it's dirty, it's straight to the point. I am a great and loving person, but when it comes to you winning and getting interviewed and winning that interview, I go right in. We will take a look at your LinkedIn, have a pen, have a piece of paper ready, and then we'll also go ahead and we'll interview. We'll touch on those really hard interview questions. It's like, tell me what is your weakness? Everybody has a weakness. Nobody answer should ever be, I don't have a weakness. If you are a human being, you have a weakness. So we discuss how do you answer a question like that.
No, this is good. Thank you again. Um, I am gonna end. Courtney said hashtag Michelle, hashtag upgrade.
Thank you,
Put
Courtney.
I put the link in the comments. Let me tell you something. Michelle, she coached me through my LinkedIn profile. When I tell you, people were, I mean, somebody hit me up for a systems administrator job. People hit me up for all kind of jobs. I think it was maybe within a week after she did my LinkedIn, I just started getting hits. I was getting hits before, but it just boom, boom, boom. She optimized that thing so good. I said, oh my gosh. So you will get more clients and you will also get job potential job looks as well.
Absolutely.
So thank you everybody. And if you need any assistance, please direct message me or connect with me on LinkedIn. Have a great one.